Good afternoon. This is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie. And I want to play for you um, a bit of the Midas video that's on Substack. I'm going to break it into chunks. The first part is about Trump and Putin and the G7, which used to be the G8, and Trump being Putin's puppet. I mean, Putin's hands so far up his ass that Trump can taste the silver in his signet ring. It's unbelievable. So I want you to listen to the first part of this, and then I'll stop it. And then when it comes to Representative Moulton, I will create another video. So here we go.
And negotiations will take place in Ukraine. And we're doing everything to ensure that the June summits, the G7 summit in Canada and the NATO summit in the Netherlands, are not hollow. Russia only truly understands one language, the language of force. That is precisely the language that must become the working one across all formats of international engagement in the coming months. And then, of course, on Monday, Donald Trump left the G7 after being in Alberta for about 12 hours, not to meet with President Zelensky on Tuesday. Then throughout Donald Trump's brief time in Alberta, he kept on basically acting as like Putin's agent. And he talked about how the G7 should really be called the G8. You remember this? Let's play it.
Together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But it didn't work out that way. But it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake. Even though I wasn't in politics then, I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table. So it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war.
Then he says that Putin speaks to me and nobody else. He bragged about how Putin speaks to him and praised Putin as the very first thing he did when he showed up in Alberta. Here, play this.
China here, the biggest economy in the world after the United States.
Well, it's not a bad idea. I don't mind that. If somebody wants to suggest China coming in, I think we suggest. But you want to have people that you can talk to. You know, they don't talk. Putin speaks to me. He doesn't speak to anybody else. He doesn't want to talk, because he was very insulted when he got thrown out of the G8. As I would be, as you would be, as anybody would be. He was very insulted. And, I mean, he was thrown out by Trudeau, who convinced one or two people, along with Obama.
And then here's the moment where he says that leaving. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of like a little boy at like a sleepover, and the other kids are like don't want to hang out with him, and so he comes up with an excuse why he had to call mommy and daddy and leave. But anyway, how weird is this when he leaves? Here, play this clip.
President, any statement on why you're leaving the G7 early for Washington?
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. Fantastic job. Thank you in Canada. But you probably see what I see, and I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
Have you heard about National Security Council?
I loved it. I tell you, I loved it. And I think...
Let's bring Democratic Congress.
Well, there you go. They ask him why he was leaving, and what does he do? He doesn't answer the question. As he does with all other questions, he spins off into some other mode. In this case, talking about how much he loved it while he was there, and so on and whatnot. Excuse me. And he never says or gives any reason why he wants to leave. Personally, I think that he and Putin are cornholing buddies. Now, just a minute. People these days call that beanbag game, where you throw a beanbag through a hole, kind of like horseshoes, cornholing. Well, in my day, cornholing was when you fucked your cousin, your brother, or your sister in the ass. Okay? So I think Trump and Putin are cornholing buddies. They're fucking each other in the ass. And I think also Putin has the P-tapes on Trump when he took the golden showers. And I think that Trump's been a Putin puppet since 1980, oh, maybe 84, 86, something like that. I don't know when the first time he went to Trump was, but it was in the, I went to Russia, Trump, it was in the early to mid 80s. So anyway, this is JC saying fuck Putin and fuck Trump. What a two-time loser Trump is, and what a fucking two-time 3-5 loser Putin is. And we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. Remember, 2 weeks. Trump is the 2 weeks president. 2 weeks until it happens, and 2 weeks to get it done. This is JC saying, Pox more, Jack. Keep on trucking.